3.5 months ago, I could not run for shit. I've been going to the gym for the past 4 years, but I was still unfit as hell. As a young man, if you can't run a mile, you need to have a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror. Something clicked in my brain, and I was like, what's the point of getting big and strong if you can't even go for a light jog? So I documented everything, the highs, the lows, and eventually ran my first 5K. Here's exactly what I did so you can copy me. I'm going to break this video up into easy to follow segments, so let's start with starting from zero. So I'm going to assume that if you're watching this, you have no idea how to start. And if you've got no knowledge, I've documented everything right here on YouTube, but I'll try and jam pack it all into this one video so that it's clear and concise and you can easily follow it. So I've been a regular gym goer for the past 4 and a bit years now, coming close to 5, but I've always been unfit. And in terms of lifting weights, I've been super consistent. I've made great progress, but in terms of cardio, I've been absolutely shocking. And I think the reason why most young guys neglect cardio is it's just not that enjoyable. It's just not as glamorized as lifting weights is. I think within gym culture, young guys are quite cardiovascular health and endurance is just not something that is as pushed as the general idea of going to the gym and lifting weights. That's great in principle, but that's only one factor of fitness. The other factor is cardiovascular health and endurance, as I've said. And in order to be physically fit, you not only do you need to lift weights in order to become stronger and fitter, you've also got to do some kind of exercise that challenges you, gets your heart rate going, and causes you to sweat. And if you're not doing any form of cardio, even from just walking, cycling, running, anything that causes you to get your heart rate going is a form of cardio. So just to get that into your mind. So this is when I first discovered running as a means of cardio, as a means to get your heart pumping, to challenge you and strive you to become fitter and healthier. And I actually first discovered this 5 years ago, and this was back during lockdown, 2020, prime Warzone. What a time to be alive. Oh, there's a lot to remember about 2020. I was like the height of TikTok trends, and can't even remember Warzone and probably loads of other things as well. And that's actually when I first started running, because I had all this free time during the lockdown and I didn't really have anything to do, and I kind of wanted to have something I could commit to and keep me busy and give me a bit of purpose. So that's when I first discovered running in the form of Couch to 5K. And I think I saw a video online of it somewhere. It might have actually been, and I watched that video and it really inspired me to start running. And at this point, I'd already been going to the gym for maybe a year, 2 years now. I probably discovered that video 1 or 2 years after lockdown. And that's when I started to take running seriously again. But I first started in around 2020 and started going for runs, but I had no clue what I was doing really. And I was kind of on and off a little bit. I made a bit of momentum and started making a little bit of good progress, and then I stopped. And then I was off and on, and then I kind of just gave up running from then on. And then I kind of revisited it again, maybe in 2021, 2022 time. And I got really motivated from that video to take up running again. And that's essentially what I did. I made loads of good progress at the start and gained so much momentum. And then as things started to get harder, I started missing runs, and then it all came crumbling down, and eventually I dropped it again. And I've been going through this cycle of picking up running and dropping it, picking it up, dropping it again, picking it up for like a third time and dropping it. And I've been in this limbo for a couple of years now, where like running as a form of cardio is very enjoyable, but I was just never truly consistent with it. And this will move in nicely to my next phase, which is all about the ugly or the unsexy middle. This is all about the part of your journey when you first start. This is about when you first start making progress. You've got this feeling of momentum on your side. You've got this novelty surrounding you. You've started this new thing and it's all exciting. But what happens is you start making good progress. You start feeling all this momentum. And then what happens is things get harder. You start missing runs, or you have really bad days. You're making slow progress, or you may even reach a plateau. And the reason I'm saying this is because it will happen at some point. And I think what you should do is just embrace them as they come, because they will come. And all throughout my running journey, I documented every single kind of experience I had, whether it's the highs, the lows, feeling very down, or just having a shit day in terms of running, and just feeling like you're in the trenches. And this is kind of what the midway point of your running journey is going to feel like. Let's say you set the goal up to run a 5K and you've been for a couple of runs and you're feeling great. As soon as you start to ramp up the intensity, this is when things get harder, and you're going to start questioning whether or not you actually want to run or even like running, because it's going to get really, well, it's not going to get really hard. It's going to get harder than you initially anticipated, but you've got to see through that commitment and stay through and keep going as things get harder, because they will never get easier. You only get stronger. So you've got to kind of trudge through those shit days, and then on the other side of that, you will make even more progress. Because in my running journey, I missed a number of runs. I had loads of shit days. I made very slow progress compared to the average person. And I had 1 or 2 plateaus. So a plateau is where you're making good progress, you're making steady progress, and then all of a sudden you reach this stage where you continue running, but you physically can't go any further. And then in order to break a plateau, you've got to actively change something, and that's effectively what I did. So my progress went up, and then it's kind of stayed stable, and then I had to break it, went down a bit, and then it went back up. So in order to break that plateau, you've got to do something which I like to call moving the needle. And in order to move the needle, you need to follow a structured program. And what I mean by this is have everything set out in place, so you know exactly what to do on each of your runs, so that when you go out for your runs, you know exactly what you're doing. And as you start out, I would say not to worry too much about this, but as you start to gain a bit of momentum and consistency, that's when you want to think about starting to follow a structured training program. Because this is where you will build consistency, and consistency will beat motivation every day of the week. The reason why I emphasize moving the needle is because you're going to have runs that feel boring, but in order to keep making progress, you've got to just keep showing up, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of anything that may get in your way and stop you from running. And this can be from a number of things. One of my main drivers for kind of getting in the way of my progress was bad weather. So whether it's really cold outside, whether it's raining, it's just shit weather in general, you've got to sort of embrace it and stick to the program. If you've said you're going to run on Tuesday, go for that run on Tuesday, because the closer and more committed you are to your goals, the more likely you are to achieve them. The reason you stay consistent is because you have a goal in mind. If you're just aimlessly running like a headless chicken and you have kind of no idea what you're doing, you're never going to stay as consistent as the person who sets a clear goal in mind and says, I'm going to run on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. You see the difference? Compare the person to, oh, I'm going to run and hope I get to 5K, whereas the person who says, I'm going to run 3 times a week, I'm going to do a tempo run, I'm going to do an endurance run, and I'm going to do a casual run, and just see how I feel on each of those runs. And then I'll start to ramp up the intensity, and start to increase my distance as I get more comfortable running for longer. Who do you think is more likely to achieve their goals? I would go with the second person, because they have a rough idea of what they want to do, and they have a clear insight into running, and also they have a growth mindset, so that once they've got comfortable at a certain level, they know how to take it up a notch and go from A to B. So once you've been moving the needle, you will get to what I like to call the breakthrough. This is when your body starts to adapt. As you start to make more consistent progress, you'll have been running consistently for about a couple of weeks now. And what you'll start to notice is that your body actually starts changing. Maybe not, you won't see this physically, but you may feel this mentally, where once you've built up a certain level of consistency, you'll start to realize that all of a sudden your endurance is much better than that. What you start to notice is that your endurance is significantly better than when you first started. You'll realize that you're not getting tired as quickly. You'll also start to realize that you're recovering a lot more quickly. I remember when I went on my first 1, 2, or even the third run, I was absolutely cooked after doing those runs, and I was so tired and exhausted. Like, the thought of running again pissed me off. I was like, oh, I generally can't be asked to go for another run. I was like, why? And then about 10 to 12 runs in, I was like, you know what? I'm down to go for another run. I'm ready to go. Let's go. And this is the first few signs you feel that your body starts to adapt. You start to recover. You learn how to take care of yourself. And this is meant in a number of ways, but we're talking precisely about running here, and the ways in which you should start to take care of yourself, all down from warm-ups before your runs, stretching, and post-run recovery, and also in the midst of your runs, pacing yourself as well, which is very important, making sure that you're going at zone 2 pace. So if you're not familiar with zone 2, essentially what that means is you should be running at a pace where you can hold a light conversation if someone was running with you. If you're not able to hold that conversation, you're going too fast. And also, your heart rate should not be super intense. It should be kind of slow and relaxed. And learning how to breathe properly whilst running will also help with that. And if we move on to the final point, this is all about the result and the lesson that I kind of gained after starting running. So it took me 3.5 months to run my first 5K. And this is proof that regardless of who you are, if you maintain discipline, you can achieve your goals that you want to set out. I was able to run a 5K because I maintained my discipline, I remained consistent, and I followed a structured program. That's where I'll leave you.